Cool. How's everyone doing? My name's Ernie Ropas. I'm the research director at Betting Hero. For those of you not familiar with Betting Hero, we're the largest in-person affiliate here in North America, driving north of 400,000 new depositing customers all face-to-face. I run the research division here, so we do really three things: testing, bespoke research, and subscription research. So on the testing side, since our footprint, we have real people, real sports bettors in all states that sports betting is live. We'll run product tests to test your product, your competitors' products, go to specific geolocations, and do product testing that way. We also do bespoke research, so we'll run surveys where operators today can survey their own customers, but what are their competitors' customers saying about their product, brand awareness in new states, things like that. And on the subscription side, similar to the study I'll show you guys today, every month we check a new market and produce these results. So I know I don't have much time. I'll walk you guys through the data fast. If there's any questions, please stop me. Also, after this, no need to take pictures. I'll send it out to, just give me your business card. Happy to send out the research here. Cool. So a quick overview of the study I'm going to show you guys today. So really focusing on the first 12 months of legal sports betting here in New York. We ran an initial survey after the first 3 months, and then again here in January 2023. So really the focus here is on New York, but we'll compare it to some similar markets. The way we ran this survey was both online and in person. Just some high-level stats here. You can see 86% male. The age range was from 21 to 69. Average age was 32. We did 164 unique respondents, and then you can see the high-level behavior here, so very high-frequency sports bettors. 92% bet on sports more than once per week, and then you see 77% have also used daily fantasy products, and then on average, the average respondent had 4.3 apps on their phone. So I'll send this to you guys. You can read through here on the right the key findings, but here's the power rankings based on consumer loyalty, brand awareness, top performance, and innovation vision, all based on the sports bettors in New York. So I'll walk you through how we got to those rankings. So here's on this question we asked brand awareness. So this was not a multiple choice question. List out what sports books they're aware of. You can see here FanDuel in the number one spot here at 68%, followed by DraftKings at 63%. BetMGM and Caesars there right around 47, 44%, and then the rest of the pack from BetRivers down to Resorts World. We also asked them, even though casino isn't yet live in New York, we asked them which online casinos come to mind. You see BetMGM, the clear leader there at 29%, much higher than Caesars, very similar product. DraftKings, at 24%, which usually outperforms FanDuel. On the next slide, I'll show you some previous markets. So here, same question, online sports betting brand awareness and casino brand awareness. So you could see FanDuel and DraftKings probably the most consistent across different markets. New York in 2022 is that white bar, and then the green bar is the most recent New York study. So you could see FanDuel improved from March of last year, where DraftKings stayed stagnant, and then BetMGM and Caesars you see slightly fell down a few points. Barstool not yet live in New York, but we threw those data points in there for comparison. On the casino side, you see DraftKings consistently seen as more of an online casino brand than FanDuel. BetMGM clearly the leader here, and really outside of Pennsylvania, FanDuel falls second to DraftKings, with Pennsylvania at 50%, one of their largest markets. But then if you compare BetMGM and Caesars, you could see outside of New York for Caesars, so the first two bars, which is New York in this year and New York of last year, 18% in Michigan, Colorado only 5%, which is not a casino legal state, Pennsylvania 11%, Arizona 16%. So you see Caesars falling behind BetMGM. So here we're asking consumers what was the first legal sports betting app they used in New York. DraftKings was the number one first used app at 30%, followed by FanDuel at 24%, Caesars at 17%, which on the next slide I'll show you how that changed from when we last ran the study. So still in the third spot, but fell much further down than it did last year, mostly because of that crazy promotions they were running when it first launched. I have a call out here, which was interesting, that 76% of the respondents downloaded their first app in New York shortly right after the launch, so within the first month, and most of them actually within the first 2 weeks. Yeah, and again, feel free to ask any questions as I go. I know I'm running through fast. There's a lot of data here. So then here, comparing that first app used across some similar markets, you see DraftKings is beating FanDuel to the punch in most scenarios on first app used. And when we run surveys and we do some interviews, most customers cite that they had a more appealing new user promotion, or after using it, there was more ongoing promotions than they saw on FanDuel. And then you see BetMGM and Caesars there. Outside of New York, Caesars is falling around 6-7% of the population that are using it as their first app. BetMGM in that 11 to 17% range, really outside of Pennsylvania, which is not one of their strongest markets. And then Barstool, you see around that 3 to 5%, consistently as well. Michigan, a little higher. They have the Greektown Casino there in Detroit, which does very well. So here we're asking when was the first time they signed up for a sports betting app, and then when was the last time they signed up. So you see almost most of the population here over a year ago, so right at that launch. Then another 16% within the last year, and then you see within the last 3 months, the last month and last 6 months, around 2-3%. But then when you ask when they last signed for a sports betting app, you see they are continuing to. Yep. So for this survey, we made sure they were New York residents, but I do have data on which of these, especially if they live in Manhattan, how many have had apps in previous states. So I have data on that. Happy to send after this. But we made sure that all respondents here are New York residents.
And then within that, how many people stuck with the same app that they were using in Jersey and they went on?
Yeah, so I have a slide on that. The highest actually retention metric was if they use it in another state prior, right? So they were in Vegas and they downloaded an app at a casino. They were in Pennsylvania and they downloaded FanDuel. So FanDuel and DraftKings, their highest retention metric was if they used it in another state prior. And then you see here when they last signed up for a sports betting app is much higher. So about half consumers were within the last 3 months have signed up for a new sports betting app, which just shows the lack of loyalty and lack of sole product that they're using. They're continuing to try new products, look for new things, and even in an established market like this. So here we ask which app is their favorite. Now this doesn't necessarily represent handle. We also ask bet size that they're using, and again I'll take you on another slide where consumers are using almost 3 apps on average. So FanDuel in this study had the highest usage for the dollar amounts, but DraftKings was cited as the most favorite app, followed by, you see, BetMGM and Caesars tied at 13%, which Caesars dropped immensely from the last time we ran this study. Bet Rivers all the way down to Resorts World. Interesting thing we call out here is around daily fantasy. And we've seen this in other states consistently as well, where DraftKings is doing a better job of their daily fantasy users also using their sports product or vice versa. So 63% of DraftKings users in this study also use their daily fantasy product, and for FanDuel was 45%. So on this slide here, we're asking, why is it their favorite app? Now, I can send you guys, when I send you the full study, you'll see some of the responses here. But the top answer, obviously, is promotions and rewards, followed by user interface and user experience. Better odds in third, first app used, only, attributing to 10%, strong brand name, 9%, funding and withdrawal methods, customer service, and then innovative features there at 2%, which if you really dive deeper, they usually cite unique features. The interesting thing here is for FanDuel users, 41% cited user interface and experience as the reason for their favorite app. So clearly the easiest to use, log on, find what they want to bet on, is what we consistently hear about FanDuel users. DraftKings did much better, comparing to FanDuel in promotions and rewards. Just easier to find, there's more rewards for them, and they tend to log in there first to see what's available before going to FanDuel if they were a FanDuel primary user. So here, just to give you an idea of how many apps they're downloading and how many apps they're actively using. The average number of apps downloaded, it's only 7% only ever downloaded one app. 15% at 2, 14% at 3 apps, and then, four apps was a quarter of the respondents, and then 5+ was at 38%, the largest bucket. So most consumers are trying out, all the offers, they're trying out what's out there, and they're signing up for 5 or more apps. Number of apps they're still actively using, so about 2.8 on average, and you can see here, but still, when you get to that 4 app bucket, about a quarter are using 4 or more apps daily, which is, or, when they bet is quite high. So here, give you a metric on retention. So percentage of respondents who downloaded the app and are still actively using. DraftKings is the number 1 here. So 83% of respondents who admitted to downloading DraftKings are still actively using it. FanDuel was 72%. BetRivers at 66%, which was a much smaller end, and a newer platform. BetMGM at 62%, PointsBet 61%. You see Caesars 58%. Likely due to that new user promo in the beginning, where a lot of people tried it and they lost a lot of their active user base there. WinBet, and then Resorts World in last, which was late to the game. And a big question here in New York is there going to be a retail casino available? Is online casino going to be available? So one of the questions we asked is, if it became legal in New York, which of the following would you use? So similar to the brand awareness question, DraftKings came in number 1, where 48% said they would use DraftKings as their online casino, followed by FanDuel at 39%, BetMGM 37%, Caesars 32%, all the way down to Ballybet. One interesting thing here to note is in previous studies we've done, and in Pennsylvania specifically, around 35% of sports bettors who also use casino have a different favorite app for casino. And the reasons vary. It can be superstition, where, hey, I win more on this app, to there's more casino games, live casino games. They like to keep it separate, better casino promotions, but 35% do use a different app, or their favorite app for casino is different than their sports app. So here we were asking around, with retail casinos in AC and potentially in New York, how likely are you to try a new sports betting app that offered rewards at their physical casino for their betting app? So starting to hear this more and more, and you can see 46% said they would be very likely, 27% are likely, and then all the way down to never there. But this is a question that or a thing that we hear asked of our teams a lot. How does this translate to free rooms or extra stays or dinners at casinos, and they are starting to offer this, especially BetMGM and Caesars. But of the public, they still perceive that there's a long way to go here. They don't see directly that their play on their app is related to invites to their retail property, and I think there's a huge opportunity here for those that do utilize that. This is something we consistently hear in these studies. So I'll stop here. I think this is the last slide of this version that I have. I know we have a few more minutes. I'd like to answer any questions, go back to any slides. So anyone, any questions? There's got to be one question.
How do you reconcile DraftKings' leadership position in the vast majority of these slides in your user research versus the number 2 position in the marketplace?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, and I think it's starting to shift a bit. So what we've seen is, especially in new states, right, like Ohio, they have great promos and call it no-brainer promos, where bet 5 and you get $200 free bets. So they're getting these customers through the door, and especially in states like New Jersey, where it's been around for a while. FanDuel did a much better job with same-game parlay. They were first to market with same-game parlay, so maybe they started with DraftKings, but FanDuel had a better offering, different unique feature that took some of that market share. But you're starting to see now is DraftKings is starting to lead the way in new products. And an example I'll give you is last week we did an interview with a customer who lived in New Jersey but bets in New York frequently, and the reason he cited that he uses DraftKings now is there's unique markets that he can bet on. So, for UFC, for example, he likes to bet the total strikes thrown, takedowns, and that's something that only DraftKings offers for that market. So, unique feature, and he's starting to use that more. So, I think DraftKings is doing a better job of offering new features. They launched that social platform. Don't know how well, I haven't heard much of it, but they're trying out new things that will hopefully retain those customers.
How does this sit in terms of profitability? So we see DraftKings kind of leading most of these slides, but how does that sit in terms of?
Yeah, so it's no secret that like parlay bettors, same game parlay is the most profitable customers, those that are betting on player props. And one thing we consistently see especially if you can compare, to FanDuel, by far has, anyone who's the primary bets are same game parlay, player props, parlays, they gravitate towards that platform. Where for DraftKings, there'll be a higher percentage of those who are straight bettors who are betting, pre-match, money line or spread. So FanDuel has done a great job of putting emphasis on the higher profitability types of bets. And every single one of these studies we've done, FanDuel has outperformed DraftKings in those that are betting on parlays, same game parlays, player props.
That stat you had about 76% of downloads were in the first month. The stat that you had about the 76, no, it was the call-out box on, yeah, that. How does that compare to other states? And then do you have any data of what percent of handle throughout the year were within that bucket?
So I don't have the data on the handle, but I could tell you, compared to other states, this is probably the highest. I'm just going to guess that Massachusetts is going to be pretty similar, and the reason being is, New York was, adjacent to New Jersey and other, Connecticut, other markets where sports betting was available. So a lot of, when we ran this study initially, I think it was almost 40% of those that lived in Manhattan had downloaded a sports betting app in another state or legally made a bet. So when it became live, they were waiting for it. They knew it was coming. They already had accounts, and especially DraftKings FanDuel, where it's single wallet, they were able to play the day of. When we took a look at Massachusetts, it's very similar in how many have made illegal bets before in neighboring states, and I'm assuming it's going to be pretty close. In other markets we've done, it's a lot lower. I'd say, that 50 to 60% range is the first month on a typical survey. So it's about, 25% higher. Yeah.
Maybe it's a good segue to the next panel, but anything in terms of customer acquisition funnel, why these people joined, if it was affiliate, seeing an ad on TV, seeing some type of partnership with the team or league. Any data that you guys have on that?
Yeah, so New York's a unique one where, they launched during football season, the heat of football season. So we do have, I don't think I have it in this deck, but I can share it. Most of them it was referral, like friend or family. Hey, do you hear that sports betting's live now in New York? Download this app, make a bet this weekend. The following one was TV advertisements. Affiliate, came like, I think fourth. So the top two answers by far, though, was friend and family, word of mouth. It was a big buzz in New York when it first launched. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, something that jumped out at me between BetMGM and Caesars was the disparity between brand awareness. Did you see anything that was kind of, they're both, land-based giants. Anything correlated there that kind of explained that to you, or?
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's something we consistently see is, especially when it comes to online casino, is, BetMGM is just seen as more of an online casino than Caesars, and their brands aren't any different, right? They both have the similar retail properties. I think it has to do a lot with their advertising and, what they're doing with those that come to their land-based properties. I think BetMGM does a better job of making sure if you come into their casino, you're leaving on their digital platform. And if you can even see it in some of Caesar's ads, it's more focused around, they acquired William Hill, more focused around sports betting. So BetMGM, and they're the #1 app for online casino today. So they're doing a better job of those that come into their retail property, they're leaving on their digital platform and, being perceived in their advertisements as a casino brand. Cool. So I have like about 15 seconds. Any last questions?
Cross-sell from sportsbook usage to casino usage.
So not New York, since there's no online casino available, but we have done similar research in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, on tracking promotions that are used, like which apps are doing that more frequently than others, what promotions are working the best, what kind of promotions do consumers want to see, and actually we saw more of like the negative side where that sports bettors feel like they aren't heard or it's not personalized, where they get pushed to casino, bet on this sport, and then they'll get a casino spins where they don't want casino spins, and they'll get maybe more frustrated, or hey, make a deposit match and you got a 35 times playthrough. So they actually, sometimes it can go the other way where they try too hard for a cross sell and the customers don't feel like they're being heard, or it's just, there's no way they're going to make money off it. But I do have, if you want to shoot me your email, I can send you some of the previous data we did. Cool. So yeah, if you want, bring me your business card. Happy to send this out to anyone who's interested. Any additional questions, also happy to answer those questions. So thank you.